Welcome back to American Rock Radio, everybody. This is Mike Phillip, and well, he's done it to us again. Dr. Glidden is late. I hope he shows up because I don't have anything prepared other than what I was going to discuss with Dr. Glidden today. We have some things we're going to be announcing on the show, good things that you're going to definitely like, and that will definitely help improve your life. Medical and Medicare fraud is huge. We just had a story break that over 400 arrests were made. Well, let me just read this to you here. 455 people, including doctors, charged in historic $6.5 billion health care schemes. And the U.S. Department of Justice announced this healthcare fraud takedown. 455 individuals, including 90 doctors across 45 states, for false Medicare and Medicaid claims that caused patients harm. They were lying deliberately to make money off of you and people you love getting hurt or possibly even die. And I've seen that quite a lot, actually. When I used to run the 1-800 number for Dr. Glidden's website years ago, and we're talking like 17 years ago, I remember talking to people. There was a woman in Michigan that a doctor had falsely diagnosed her with cancer in order to get a monetary kickback by putting her on chemotherapy. He ruined her life, right? And so fraud in voting, fraud in Medicare. This is a world of violence and lies. People will lie to you in order to get some kind of little leg up or advantage or a few dollars or to see a spreadsheet go up. And so we really have to use our head in dealing with these things. Now, a big aspect of that, number one, is not knowing what to do. Number two, trusting liars. Okay. Whether it's a preacher or a doctor or a judge or a lawyer or a teacher or whatever the case might be, there's a lot of them out there. And the book of Jude talks about false preachers and refers to them as beasts that are made to be taken and burned. Harsh language? Maybe. It's in your Bible. The book of Proverbs also talks about people with intent in their heart to hurt people and then saying, I didn't know that was going to happen, and that God is looking at that intent. The enemy of your soul comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Those three things: steal, kill, and destroy. And we see a lot of that going on around us. I have and I want to talk about just personal responsibility here. Okay. I have a neighbor that is an ambulance driver. He's EMS. Okay. And I was talking to him for a good half an hour out on the street this morning about his job and the things that he encounters. And what he told me was, number one, it is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You have people that are overdosing 4 times a day, that these EMS drivers have to go running to them because they're ODing over and over and over and over and over again. I said to him, is it ever kind of tempting to just let them go? And he said, oh, the conversation's been had, but we have to go if we get the call, right? And these are people that are just, they're bound and intent on killing themselves, right? Now, a lot of people say, well, you should just legalize drugs and then that won't matter, right? No, it does cost everybody. Now, the other thing I want to talk about with personal responsibility is he was telling me that after the lockdowns, the whole game changed. They would get so many calls a day. Now, he said, though, since the lockdowns, it's gotten so out of hand with people calling 911 for stupid, frivolous reasons, mostly because they just don't know how to be an adult. He was telling me that they will get calls for a grown man, 35, 36 years old, that picked his nose too much and got a nosebleed. And so they call 911 because their nose won't stop bleeding because they don't know how to stop a nosebleed. They don't know to pinch your nose and hold your head back, which is something I knew when I was 5. They get calls of people that will fake a heart attack. So they get rushing down there, and that person wants the EMS to come in the house and get their TV remote for them because they can't reach it from their chair. And so the stealing, killing, and destroying is going on at the upper levels of society through fraud. But the other part of it is adults that are not adults and cannot use a functioning brain properly. We've got Dr. Glidden in the house. Look at that. Hey, you decided to pull up. That's fantastic.
Yeah, Mike, I'm sorry. I was in the wrong email. I was looking all over for the link, and I was in the wrong email, so I figured
I'm
it
so
out.
sorry. I sent it to your Gmail. Do you want it from Proton from now on?
From now on.
Proton. Okay. Then and that's perfect because then the government doesn't know that I'm sending you a video link. Right? So I was just telling everybody some of the things that we want to talk about today.
Yeah.
And personal accountability in your own healthcare. I was talking to a neighbor that is EMS. He's an ambulance driver in for a major city of 1 million people. And he said that after the COVID lockdowns, he said the whole game changed. The whole game completely changed. And we talk about medical fraud, and we talk about lying doctors, and we talk about drug deaths and things like that. But there's another aspect to this, Doc. This guy was telling me that after the lockdowns, the number of frivolous calls for ambulances went up times 10. He said that grown men will pick their nose until they get a nosebleed and then call for an ambulance because they don't know to get a Kleenex. And so they call an ambulance. He was telling me that they'll get people that will phone EMS or 911 and fake a heart attack so that someone will come to their house and get their TV remote because they can't reach it from their chair.
Come on.
I'm not joking. He was dead serious. He was telling me they get addicts in downtown Edmonton that they have to go and resuscitate 4 times a day, every single day. Like it's part of their routine. And so people that are actually having a medical episode, they can't get to them for like 4 hours because they're stopping a nosebleed on a 40-year-old man that picks his nose.
Isn't free medical care great?
That's the thing. Well, and that's the other thing about it is because people are so convinced that they have free health care that they go to emergency if they stub their toe. And it's making them crazy. Like I personally am an advocate of Alberta independence, of Alberta becoming its own nation and breaking off from Canada or possibly a state. I have been since I was 16 years old. The biggest thing that makes people absolutely insane is that they're scared to lose the health care that they don't even have in the first place, and it makes them violent. My neighbor just last night had an Alberta Independence sign on his front lawn. Somebody keyed his truck.
So they don't like Alberta independence because that would that would negate the healthcare stuff.
That's their biggest argument. Yeah. And there's a lot of fear and anger, like huge, and they'll get violent over it. And the most of them, I will say this, the majority of the ones that are crazy about it are in their 60s and 70s. Like I've seen them walking by or driving by on the street and just looking at my neighbor's yard sign, which they took down, right? Because like you never know what the zombies are going to do. But
well, I think that type of behavior has intensified post-COVID jab.
It has.
And I think it's a function of the COVID jab. I think that the COVID jab has done funny things to the frontal cortex of people's brains, and it's making the herd mentality more of a thing than it was. It was always a big thing in the past, but I think it's even more so now. And I think that was one of the reasons that it was done, to make people in the population more compliant with whatever it is that they're thinking about rolling out downstream, like chips in the under the skin for identification, and speech modification, like they're doing in Great Britain now, in the UK.
Yep.
The speech police, if you say things that the government doesn't like, they're going to lock you up.
We're getting that now here. They just passed Bill C-22 in Canada. It's the Online Hate Speech Act, and they're actually put it in that you could be arrested and charged or fined for reading certain Bible verses. So, but that's happened before. I mean, the Catholic Church used to murder people like me for not confessing to certain doctrines. So, I mean, that's been going on and ironically, medical freedom under, that's why that was a big reason why people came to the New World, and they set up the Constitution with freedom of speech the way they did,
That's right.
because the church and government in Europe would burn you at the stake if you didn't confess to certain orthodoxies or doctrines.
Yeah, religious freedom, financial freedom were two major drivers. And here's an interesting story that Rush Limbaugh used to tell all the time back in the day, whenever it was Thanksgiving in the United States. The myth is that the Indians and the Pilgrims all got together and they helped each other through the hard winters, and that's why they had the first Thanksgiving, and that was just BS. The reason that they had the first Thanksgiving was because in the first few years of the settlement at Plymouth Rock, because they were escaping financial tyranny, amongst other things, they had a communist lifestyle, right? So everybody, who, like farmers who grew the stuff, they put it all into a big communal area, and everybody could get whatever they wanted for free, and laborers would work for free, and everybody was one ideal communist society, right? Where nobody really owned everything and everybody worked for the common good. And the society was going down the tubes because a lot of the people decided, well, if I can get food for free, what do I need to work for?
Yeah.
So it was only a handful of the people in the community who were actually doing the work, and there were a lot of freeloaders, and the society was collapsing. And then the leader of the society, I forget his name, he said, enough is enough. We're not doing this anymore. We're going to a capitalistic model where you keep what you grow and you can sell it or barter it in exchange for whatever else it was that you need, and so forth and so on. And once they did that, the community started to flourish. And that's when they had the first Thanksgiving.
That's
it was to celebrate, prosperity through capitalism, not communism. And that went, the historians changed that one pretty quickly.
Well, and what you're talking about, I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about with people abusing the healthcare system, which is no good to begin with, really. But and also, having free access to ambulances and EMS. Well, pretty soon, and now people are calling it because they pick their nose too much.
It's crazy, man. I mean, it's crazy, and it's always been interesting to me, because I'm on the outside of all of this, and I've been on the outside of all of this for almost 4 decades now. Coming up on 38 years pretty soon.
Wow.
And so, this is not new to me because of my position, but the simple fact of the matter is that I'm consistently amazed by these facts, right?
Mm-hmm.
While people in Canada, for instance, are giving the government and the healthcare system their hard-earned money, they take it right out of their paychecks every week or every month, whether they want them to or not. You can't do that in the United States. In the United States, you can buy medical insurance, or you don't have to buy medical insurance. It's optional, right?
Yeah.
But in Canada and in the United Kingdom and many countries in the European Union, they take it right out of your check because it's socialized medicine. So while people are gladly turning over their hard-earned money to the medical doctors, they only get access to the medical doctors. They don't get access to the naturopaths or the homeopaths or the chiropractors or the acupuncturists or anybody else. It's MD-directed pharmaceutical medicine exclusively. And while these people are giving the MDs all their money, or a good amount of it every month, they got sick while they were under the care of those people. And there's no criticism. Nobody blinks an eyelash. Nobody thinks twice about it. And then they get sick. They go to the medical doctor because it's the only show in town. It's the only thing their insurance pays for. By and large, it's the only medicine that's considered legal in their province. And the medical doctors, bless their hearts, they have no idea what caused the problem. They have no idea what to do to cure the problem. All they can do is throw a drug at the problem to manage the problem, or sign someone up for surgery to manage the problem. And then after that, the patient is underneath the jackbooted heel of the pharmaceutical industry for the rest of their life. Because the drug wasn't intended to cure the condition. The drug was only intended to manage the condition. And after a while, the drug starts to wear off because nothing got cured. And then you need to take more of it, or you need to add a second, right? I was just watching TV the other night. And in the US, they still have direct-to-consumer pharmaceutical ads. And I tell you, they're everywhere all the time, man. It's everywhere all the time. And I heard this new ad. It was for a new psych med. And the ad went something like this. I'm paraphrasing. If you're taking an antidepressant, but are still depressed, try this new drug as an add-on. It's like, you got to be freaking kidding me. And people are buying this hook, line, and sinker. So while they're under the care of the medical doctors, they get sick. Then the medical doctors offer solutions which are not curative and which make the people sicker and weaker and sicker and weaker and sicker and weaker over time, and everybody loves it. And it's amazing to me that, medical doctors, weather forecasters, and Major League Baseball players are the only professions that can consistently fail and still get rewarded, right? If you're an MLB player and you strike out 3 out of 4 times, you're a freaking legend. You're batting .250. And who does that? Nobody does that. Weather forecasters, they get it wrong all the time, and then they still go to work. And the medical doctors, you got sick under their care, and then they weren't able to cure it, and everybody loves them and clamors for more. And my head explodes every time I see it.
Yeah, we don't get those commercials anymore, except if you have US networks. So basically, if you have satellite, that's outlawed in Canada, by the way. You can't advertise pharmaceuticals on TV.
That's the way that it should be here, but it's like white on rice here. It's everywhere all the freaking time.
Well, it doesn't make TV much more worth watching. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's true.
But no, and look, it's it's like you talked about with too many freeloaders. I know people that work in hospitals in the Edmonton area. They even with the shoddy healthcare that's already out there, they are run ragged because they're bringing in all of these refugees that and they're promising them everything, and they just it's completely unsustainable. It can't keep up. But then the people that want to keep that going, they will, like, you're Hitler if you want to do something differently, and you're babies, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, I get it. And people rattle their prescription medication bottles to celebrate their health.
Yeah.
And which is crazy to me because, look, thank God for insulin and lidocaine, right? Every time I'm in the dentist chair, I thank God for lidocaine. But the simple fact of the matter is that you cannot drug your way to health. You simply can't do it.
Yeah.
You cannot drug your way to health, but it's only Dr. Glidden and a handful of my colleagues who are standing up in the public platform saying this. And this is why we do not have medical freedom. This is why the medical monopoly exists. Because if we did have medical freedom, if naturopathic medicine was legal everywhere, if Health Canada or insurance companies in the US paid for it, and we had access, we could admit patients to any hospital in the US, and there were just as many naturopathic doctors as MDs. And in a couple of years, the MDs would be out of a job, except the surgeons and the emergency docs. Because in a free market, people gravitate towards what works. And naturopathic medicine works, or at least naturopathic medicine attempts to cure the condition. Conventional medicine does not do that. And then let's not overlook the billion-pound elephant in the middle of the room. But inside of a self-policing, self-regulating monopoly, guess what you have boatloads of? Corruption.
Yep. Absolutely, and it goes back a long ways. I mean, it's this is nothing new. You've talked about Benjamin Rush before, and his statements on needing to put medical freedom into the Declaration of Independence and Bill of Rights. But I mean, it really seems as though things are coming to a head where it's going to collapse. I mean, it cannot sustain itself going the way that it is.
455 people, including doctors, charged in a historic $6.5 billion health care fraud scheme.
Yeah, I brought that up at the beginning of the show. So I sent you that article. I don't think people understand, like, when $6.5 billion just kind of rolls off the tongue, but that's a huge amount of money. And that's, I mean, whoa. But see, okay, so they busted this now, but this has actually been going on for like many years, and people don't question it. Why? Because it's healthcare, it's doctors, right? But like I was answering phone calls on your 1-800 number 15, 17 years ago, where people were telling me that they were falsely diagnosed with cancer in order to get on chemotherapy. And that there was one very specific instance that I remember, because the doctor had come to the United States from Iraq, and he was just putting people, diagnosing everybody that walked into his office with cancer, specifically so he could get the kickback from the chemo treatments. And like this has been happening during everybody's lifetime. Don't even get me started on the VA.
Yeah. I mean, absolute power corrupts absolutely, unless you're God. And this is what happens inside of a monopoly. The problem with the medical monopoly is that it's been around for so long that people don't even know that it's real.
Right.
It's hiding in plain sight. And people don't understand that it's a monopoly, because one of the things that the monopolists did was they painted everybody who was their competitor as a back of the bus quack with substandard pseudoscientific methods. And that propaganda has stuck. So people don't realize that they exist inside of an inferior system of medicine, because the inferior system of medicine has existed itself inside of a monopoly for over 100 years. And nobody is aware of it, because when people think of medicine, they think of MDs. And, medicine is like dogs, man. There's a lot of different dogs for a lot of different things. Bloodhounds are good for finding people. Labrador retrievers are good for duck hunting. Chihuahuas, I don't know what they're good for. But if you take a Chihuahua duck hunting, you're going to come back empty-handed. It's the wrong dog for the hunt. It's no different with medicine. MD-directed medicine is fantastic for surgery when it's necessary. Not when the doctor says so, but when it's necessary. Trauma care, military field medicine, that's the wheelhouse of conventional medicine. But for everything else, man, for most of the conditions that most people go to the doctor for most of the time, it's simply the wrong dog for the hunt. It's a failed methodology. And the only reason that it still exists is because of the self-regulating, self-policing monopoly that props it up. And, the pharmaceutical industry, which is richer than God.
Yeah, it's the same thing with preachers and with people that call themselves Christians. I'm a one God Pentecostal. And so, when you say Baptist, Catholic, whatever, it's kind of all the same. No, it's not the same. It's very different. In fact, we used to be hunted down and killed by the Catholic Church. Michael Servetus, by the way, one of the most famous examples of this, was one of the first people in history to figure out that your heart pumps blood to the rest of the body, because before that, they believed all kinds of things, that you breathed air because your lungs cooled the heart and kept you from overheating. Because, well, they were teaching the works of Galen that you're familiar with, right?
Right.
But it was illegal under the church and in England and all over Europe to use any other method than Galen's method, that his methods, and they had them all in the Library of Alexandria. But Michael Servetus was one of the first people to figure out that the heart actually circulates blood through the body, but he would not confess that God is a Trinity or three people, which is, that the revelation that I have. And so they burned him at the stake. But when they did that, they gathered up all of his medical literature and burned it with him. And it was only about 300 years later before it was discovered that the heart pumps blood through the body. So, one is Pentecostals and naturopaths, we have that in common, that the orthodoxy calls us heretics.
Well, my profession of I'm inclined to say this lately, that my profession is both 100 years ahead and 100 years behind of where we should be. Because 100 years ago, when there was a hostile takeover of the practice of medicine, the naturopaths, the chiropractors, the homeopaths, everybody who was not an MD was kicked off of the bus of medicine. And all of the research went to MD medicine. All of the homeopathic hospitals, the naturopathic healing sanitariums were shut down. They were taken out of business because it was illegal to practice this type of medicine. You couldn't do it anymore. So that was over 100 years ago. So there's been 100-year vacancy of research and clinical experience brought to you by the medical monopoly on the one hand, and on the other hand, the tenets of naturopathic medicine, the foundation philosophies, which all of the clinical therapeutics are built upon, are based in natural law. And people who understand this are in the minority. And I think that 100 years from now, my medicine will be commonplace, and everybody in the world will understand it. I just think we're both ahead and behind our time all at the same time, which is interesting.
That's interesting, definitely, because our foundation likewise hasn't changed in 2,000 years either, no
Right.
matter what else came along. And so, yeah, I mean, do you really think there will come a day when you guys will be in the driver's seat, or do you think that we'll end up like Mogadishu?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's going to come a day when we'll end up in the driver's seat because of the enormous control, political power, and financial largesse of the pharmaceutical industry. And they are not going to go quietly into the night. There's always been a fight. There always will be a fight. Honestly, man, the deck is stacked so far against everybody who's not an MD
Mhm.
that it's amazing that any other profession is still around. And the only reason that we are still around, the only reason, is because what we do works. And you can only put a bushel over that truth for so long. The light's always going to shine out. There's always going to be chinks in the armor. There's always going to be people that recover their health. There's always going to be people that have miraculous recoveries. There's always going to be that, because the truth will out, right? So, however, because of society and social norms and, maturity of people and the monopoly, this from the Department of Redundancy Department, it all goes back to the monopoly, man. I think it's going to be a very tough nut to crack to have actual medical freedom in my lifetime. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, but until then, you can keep operating and just reach who you can, which is, again, you're speaking my language. I mean, you can't hide the light. The truth is always going to be there marching in the background.
Yeah.
And people that believe lies will pay for it. And that's just all there is to it. So, I mean, yeah.
You know, the only, and think it through, man, because why would anybody in their right mind want to consciously, on purpose, willfully join a medical profession which is despised by most of the world? Why would anybody want to do that?
Yeah.
Because that medical profession is true. And because it resonates with truth. And, you know, when you look at the halls of naturopathic medicine, we haven't discarded anything. We add new things because we learn new things. But all of our therapeutics are based on natural law, so we never have to discard anything, which is the opposite of what the MDs do. The halls of conventional MD medicine are littered with the discarded remains of stupid therapeutics, which in their day were the standard of care, like bloodletting. Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Phrenology.
That was the standard of care back in the day. If you didn't do that, you were, you know, hurting your patients and you'd be thrown in jail. It's nuts.
I don't understand what you're saying because my eyes are too far apart.
That's what it's like, man. So, you know, this is the situation. And so there's a saying in real naturopathic medicine that, you know, people become naturopathic doctors because they're called to it. It's not because we want to do it. It's not because, you know, we have, you know, our father hated us and we want to get into a profession where, you know, we're looked down upon by the rest of the freaking world like our father looked down on us. It's not like that.
Yeah.
We do it because we have to do it, because we've seen that light and we've touched it and we've felt it and we've experienced it and we know what it can do. And yet, you know, we persist inside of massive amounts of calumny levied against us.
Absolutely. You are going to extend your 50% off of subscriptions to your online medical recovery system until the end of June. Is that correct? Can I advertise this?
Oh, shoot me in the head right now. Yes, it's true. So a couple times a year, we do the 50% off thing. The coupon code, though, is Mike with a capital M.
Capital M. Let me change that. Okay.
Yeah, that's important. It's a capital M. Right now, the yearly subscription is $450 US a year. If you use the coupon code Mike, it's $250 US a year, which is basically means I'm giving it away. It's a fantastic deal. You should take advantage of it now because it is going away on midnight, June 30th, 2026, midnight Central Time, June 30th. And as a subscriber, man, you get instant access to hundreds of hours of instructional videos, the intention of which is to educate you about real medicine and what to do to help your body help itself. Because this is the fundamental naturopathic belief that your body knows how to fix itself. It wants to fix itself, and it's trying to fix itself all the time. For instance, if you've got high blood pressure, it's probably because you don't have enough calcium and magnesium. It's not because you have a bad gene. It's not because you have a losartan deficiency. It's because your body doesn't have the essential nutrients it needs to keep your blood pressure healthy. If you have heartburn, it's not because you have a proton pump inhibitor deficiency. It's because you're not swallowing enough salt and you don't have enough calcium in your body. Your body needs those two things to have a healthy stomach acid, and so forth and so on. On the website, I have solutions to 103 different health conditions, plus a 7-day detox, plus a parasite cleanse, plus a 67-day heavy metal detox, plus a whole system called medical myth busting, where I tell you the truth about high blood pressure, the truth about cholesterol, the truth about heart disease. Honest to God, stuff you should have been taught in high school, really. but because of the medical monopoly, this medicine was hidden from your view. It was hidden. So for goodness sakes, become a subscriber today. Get access to this information today, and let me help you figure it out, because it's not hard, man. That's another thing you've been lied to about. Surgery is hard. Okay, I don't recommend you try to do that on your own, but learning what to do to help your body help itself is really pretty freaking easy. And if you're smart enough to pass a driver's license test, you're smart enough to figure it out. And I try to make it fun and entertaining. So go to the website through Mike's link, become a subscriber, and let's go, man, because people are suffering needlessly, and it's only a matter of time until the medical doctors get you in their clutches, and then it's harder to get out of it.
Now, the other thing too is that, like you mentioned earlier, you've got 40 years of experience, and if you think that you can just figure out by just going online and looking at different things on how to reverse your blood pressure, whatever the case might be, uh, number one, you're not going to be able to do it. Number two, it's the products you're buying. And I had an epiphany here because the last time we had you on the show, we got talking about amino and fatty acids, omegas 3, 6, and 9. And so, okay, so for a while, quite a while now, actually, I have not been getting the omega fatty acids that you recommend to save a few dollars, because the ones that you recommend are priced in US dollars, and they're very, like, the Canadian dollar is like, I think 68 cents US now or something.
Yikes.
So yeah, so that, $100 US is like you're spending $140, right? To
Yeah.
Canadian. But so what I was doing was I was going and buying my omegas at the grocery store, because
Yeah.
I can get for $20, I can get 120 of them. And I've been doing that for quite a while now. And my chest was getting tight. Like I was feeling a tightness in my chest, and I couldn't figure out what the heck was causing this, right? Because when I first got going with you, that was one of the first benefits I received. So I got talking with you in different processes of packaging the oil in the capsule and things like that. I remembered what you had said because I had forgotten. And so I
Yeah.
thought, you know what? I'm going to go back to the old ways because that's what worked. I went and I ordered the ones that you recommend. Guess what? Same day. It was like
Yeah.
my airways just went like
Yeah.
opened right up. Like it was like the same day.
Well, it
And
makes a difference, right? And this is kind of a big deal, because somebody's got to be number one.
yep.
I mean, nutritional supplements are like wine. All wine is made from grapes, but there's a really pretty big difference from bottle to bottle, or like chicken soup. They're all different depending on the recipe. And it's the same with nutritional supplements. So there's crappy nutritional supplements, there's middle of the road nutritional supplements, and there's exceptional stuff.
Well, I
I've
think
been
the ones
doing
I was getting were actually hurting me, to be
I
honest.
think they probably were, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been doing this for almost 40 years now. It'll be 38 years in September.
Yep.
And I've been around this block, man, 10 times. And I know the nutritional supplement industry inside and out. And let me tell you something, folks, they're not all equal. And there are some companies that do a much better job at raw material sourcing and quality control and testing to make sure that what's in the capsule is actually what's reflected on the label, right?
Mhm.
And not everybody does that with enough due diligence. Not every company, because most companies, they're not concerned with quality, they're concerned with quantity. They just want to sell stuff and make money. They don't care if it's crap.
Yep.
So the company that I've come down on and the supplements that I recommend because they're the most effective ones I've seen in 37 years. And
Yep.
that's really saying something, because I've seen a lot.
Well, what I mean, like when I first started listening to your show back when you had your radio show, Fire Your MD Now, I heard you talking about selenium. I heard you talking about copper. I heard you talking about chromium, vanadium, all these different things, right? And so I didn't I didn't really listen to you as to where to go to get these combinations of nutrients. And I would just run down to the local store and buy, okay, so here's the selenium, here's the copper, here's the chromium, here's the vanadium. I had probably $600 worth of just bottles of crap in my cupboards that none of it worked. None of it worked. So, like, I was trying to achieve the results that you were talking about by using the minerals you were talking about, but the amounts and the combinations and the cofactors were just all off. I didn't know what I was doing and it wasn't working. So, like, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a joke. This man knows what he's talking about. Look at him. How old are you, Dr. Glidden?
68.
60. You look great. Look at all that hair. When I was a kid, that's when my dad told me the Vietnam War started. Because the president was going bald and he looked at Vietnam, saw these people with hair. So he paid until I was like 11. But anyway, great talk. But no, seriously, there's a way to do it. I don't suggest that you do your own electrical work in your house. You need an electrician. Yeah, I don't suggest that you. I mean, this guy knows what he's talking about, and if you want to get the health results, or you want to just keep spinning your wheels with some crap you saw on Facebook that was making a bunch of claims, you can do that, but you're not going to get the same results as this man has compiled and actually doing clinical work for 40 years, sitting in office helping people achieve the results.
Yeah, most people wouldn't believe the things my colleagues have seen people recover from. I mean, we don't have the secret to everything, but we have our fingers on the pulse of natural law, and as regards to healing. And when you understand natural laws of healing, you can affect a great amount of positive change in the human body mind. And one of the things that is a result of the monopoly and the big pharma propaganda, one of the things that I think it's the hardest thing for me to communicate to people, because everybody's just been brainwashed for their whole life with this notion that when you're sick, you have to go to the doctor and the doctor is smarter than you. Well, that's not true.
Or call an ambulance when you get a nosebleed.
You get a nosebleed. As a matter of fact, 83% of the time, if you have a chronic health condition, you don't need a private appointment. You just need to know what to do. I mean, if you want to go outside and shovel your driveway in the middle of winter, do you have to call up a clothing specialist and have them walk you through what to wear? No.
That's a good
analogy. Put on long johns and socks and boots, and you bundle up, right? Because your mother told you how to do that. Your father told you how to do that. It's easy. It's common sense. Well, most of learning what to do to help your body help itself is common sense. Just nobody's ever told it to you until me. And so, healing is easy, folks. Surgery is complicated again. But learning what to do to help your body fix itself, it's not hard. And you should bring yourself up to speed in this arena, because if you don't, it's only a matter of time until something does break. And then you go to the medical doctors who are trained to just throw a drug at it. And then you're SOL. And then we're playing catch up. So it's better to be proactive here and to start the healing and the self-empowerment now. Because I'm honest to God, man, you don't know what you're missing. You don't know what you're missing. You don't know what you're missing because you have gotten used to being in an undernutrified body, eating all the wrong food all the time, and feeling like crap. And you think that's just normal. And why do you think it's normal? Because all your buddies feel the same way. All your coworkers feel the same way. Everybody's in the same boat. And it's not because you have a bad gene. It's because you have a bad doctor. You need to switch sides and let me help you figure it out.
Without getting into the mechanics, we got 15 minutes left here. Tell people some stories of some of the greatest health recoveries you've seen in your career.
I'm working with one woman now. She had migraine headaches for, I think, 30 years, like weekly migraine headaches. She had two types of headaches. She had ocular migraines and she had migraines.
What's an ocular? Oh, behind the eyes.
Yeah, you get visual disturbance. Like you
Okay.
see flashes of light and your vision gets wonky, right?
Mhm.
And for 20 years or maybe 30, it was a long time.
That's hard to function with all your life like that.
She did it though, but you're right, it's hard to function. And in 2.5 weeks, they're gone. They're gone.
2.5 weeks after 20 years.
2.5 weeks. I was treating another kid years ago. She had reflex sympathetic dystrophy. This was a 9-year-old girl. Her parents brought her to see me on Friday. And it had been a long week, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'd had too much tequila. I don't know. But I was tired. It was Friday. Last patient of the week. Reflex sympathetic dystrophy. This was way before the internet. I didn't even know what the hell that was. Right?
I don't even know what that is. Yeah.
So it's a neurological condition. And she had it below the waist. And the way that it manifests is if you touched her, like if you just tapped her on the thigh, it would feel to her like you hit her with a hammer.
Oh, right? So like an increased sensitivity to touch and things like that?
Below the waist, right? I mean, so just walking was painful, right?
Wow.
So, and she'd had this condition for a number of years. And my clinic at that time, my office was in Hyannis, Massachusetts, right? Where the Kennedys live, right? Had drinks with Teddy Kennedy one night. That was an interesting story. But I digress. So they bring this kid into my office, reflex sympathetic dystrophy. She's had it for 3 years. She was going to Children's Hospital in Boston, which was about a 2-hour drive from where they lived, once a month for like 3 years. And every time she went to Children's Hospital, because it was a teaching hospital, she'd be seen by a team of doctors. They had no idea what to do for it because they didn't know what caused it. They don't know what to do to cure it, just like everything else. And so they were just throwing shit against the wall to see what would stick, and none of it was helping. So she was having a bad episode, and her parents brought her to see me. And I'm like 2-3 years out of medical school. Reflex sympathetic dystrophy. What the heck is this? I don't know. Yeah. So I leaned on natural law. And with natural law, you don't really need to know what the pathophysiology is. You just need to know what the symptomology is. So I did an inventory of her symptoms, and I gave her a homeopathic medicine that cost like $10, right? A little vial of homeopathic pellets cost $10, maybe not even in those days. Maybe it was like $8. Okay. And I told her to take 2 pellets twice a day through the weekend and come back to see me on Monday. I was figuring that on Monday I could do a full-blown interview with the kid, like a 2-hour interview, get her real health history and take a better shot at it, right? The Friday's appointment was kind of like a Hail Mary, right? Okay, I'll give it a try. The kid's in pain. I got to do something. Let's give it a try. So I give her a well-indicated homeopathic medicine. Monday morning rolls around, right? I'm late to the office for some reason. It could have been tequila. I don't know. So I get to the office and her parents are in the waiting area already. And they've got tears in their eyes. And I'm thinking, shit, I killed the kid. The kid's dead, right? I'm going to jail. That's what I thought, right?
Automatically assumed the worst.
Yeah, but no, just the opposite. After I think dose number 2, I don't know, but at some time during the weekend, all of the pain that she had vaporized. It was gone. It was cured. The medicine cured the condition. It cured it. And it cured it. Now I thought, maybe it's placebo, right? So a week goes by, she's cured. 2 weeks go by, she's cured. 3 weeks goes by, the kid's cured. It wasn't a fluke. It's not coming back. She's cured. So the parents, like a week or 2 later, right? Because they had a standing appointment at Children's Hospital once a month. They go back to Children's Hospital and they're super excited. The kid's going to be a celebrity, right? The medical textbooks are going to be rewritten because the kid's cured of an incurable disease,
You would
right?
think. Yeah.
So they sit down with the doctors that they've been seeing for 3 years, 12 doctors in the room. The doctors do the exam on the kid. They do the blood work or whatever it was they needed to do. And son of a bitch, she's cured. They can't believe it. Literally, they can't believe it. So they ask the parents, "Oh my God, we've never seen this. What did you do?" The parents said, "Well, we took her to see a naturopathic doctor and he gave her a homeopathic medicine and it cured her in 2 days." 11 of the 12 doctors got up and left the room. There was one guy who was on rotation from Europe. He wanted to know what the name of the medicine was, but not even he called me. None of these doctors called me. None of them took a 2-hour drive to my office to talk to me about what the hell happened because, oh my God, you cured this kid. How did you do that? Not one of them. And that still sits with me today because it is a perfect example of the closed-mindedness which is drilled into the education of the medical doctor. Closed-mindedness, because even in the face of proof, they could not accept the reality that some other doctors' therapeutics fixed it when they couldn't. And this is another reason why we have a chronic health disease epidemic, because the medical doctors are closed-minded. And they actually think that if they weren't taught it in medical school, it's simply not valid, even when they have evidence to the contrary, right?
Yeah.
And that was a really telling thing for me, and it really kind of blew my mind.
I remember being naive like that when I first started listening to you, and then I started using your methods and things that you recommend. And I had an amazing you know, health recovery myself, several actually, allergies, asthma, just gone. And I remember thinking, everybody's going to want to know about this, right? No, they don't. No, they don't. And they'll get angry at you. In fact, if you go to your doctor
You're right.
and tell them about that you found something that's non-drug and surgery that actually fixed a chronic pain and disease issue, they'll probably get angry at you. You'll have family that will get mad at you and call you an idiot and a quack and things like that. It's literally that way. It's the same thing with healing when God does it. My brother had when he was going to a one God Pentecostal church in Spruce Grove here just outside of Edmonton. They had a woman that had a tumor the size of a grapefruit, and they had a healing service one night, prayed over her in the name of Jesus, the way that we understand him. And she went to get this thing removed surgically. It was gone. It was gone. Like, not only that, but this woman, before she came into the church, she had been a rough life, let's put it that way. But they ran a bunch of tests on her, and her, not only was the tumor gone, but her body was new. Like, it was new. Like, she was like a preteen with a never smoked a cigarette kind of thing. And so, but do you think that one of them doctors would want to know how that took place or what was behind it? No, no, I can't hear you. No, 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 no. And
I had another woman, I think it was the year after the reflex sympathetic dystrophy kid, she had breast cancer and fibrocystic breast disease, right?
yeah,
And she came in to see me, and I figured out what was causing it. Her breast cancer was caused by a pharmaceutical that she was taking called Premarin, which is 2 parts horse hormone and 1 part human hormone. Oh, that's a good idea. And it was given to her for hot flushes of menopause, which is not a disease. And it caused breast cancer. Okay. So I took her off of the drug, or I recommended she go off of it, and she did. And I put her on a medical nutrition program for the fibrocystic tissue in the breasts. And the tumor's gone. The breast tissue was normal. So she goes back to her general practitioner or the oncologist, or I think it was an oncologist. And she told me this story. She came back to see me a couple days later and she said, "Oh, Dr. Glidden, I got to tell you the story." She said, "I'm so happy." She said, "I was sitting in the doctor's office and he was looking at, and when she went to the office, she had a new x-ray, right? Brand new x-ray to compare, right? And the doctor was looking at the x-rays and he was looking at the nurse and he threw the x-rays on the table and he yelled at the nurse for bringing him the wrong set of x-rays and she was wasting his flipping time. She didn't bring him the wrong set of x-rays. She brought him the right set of x-rays. And there was such a difference between the before Dr. Glidden treatment and the after Dr. Glidden treatment, he couldn't freaking believe it. Because not only was the tumor gone, but the breasts were normal now. There was no more fibrocystic tissue. He'd never seen that. Now, this guy was worse because his office was like 10 minutes from my office. And he didn't walk over or call me and say, "I've never seen anything like this in 50 years of work." Well, how did you do that? He didn't do it.
Yeah.
And it's a big problem that we have, Mike. If people in the listening audience think that your medical doctors are the smartest people in the room, they're not. They might be very intelligent, but they don't have a lot of street smarts. They're basically, medical doctors in this day and age have basically devolved into drug salesmen. That's really all that they are. And my recommendation is that you extract yourself from the conventional medical matrix as soon as possible. And the way to start that process is go to my website, become a subscriber, use the coupon code Mike, get 50% off, for goodness sakes, and let me give you a guided tour of the undiscovered country by most of science-based, clinically verified, curative naturopathic medicine.
Go through our website, americanuckradio.com. It is on the banner ad underneath me. That's americanuckradio.com. Scroll down and you will see. I was going to do a screen share, but I was going to tell you there's an ad near the bottom of the main page. It says, "Dr. Glidden, we want you to become the hero of your own health recovery with Dr. Glidden's online info." I want to tell you a quick story before I let you go. They know what this stuff does. They know. I had an inflamed Achilles tendon. I was bicycling a lot. My Achilles tendon got all big. This is years ago. And I went to the walk-in clinic, all right? Even though I know better, but I went to the walk-in clinic. And I had this doctor from South Africa, and he asked me if I wanted to get what is that shot they give you for stuff like that for joints? Cortisone. He said, "Do you want a cortisone shot?" And I said, "No, I don't think I want that." You know what he said to me, Dr. Glidden? He goes, "You are right to say no to that, because I just gave another lady one of those for the same thing the other day, and her Achilles tendon snapped like a fan belt. I couldn't believe it." "And you wanted to do the same thing to me?" He said, "Yeah, but you said no, and you were right to do that." Now, it was like, you know that you're hurting people, but like, it's just that's what's in the blue book, right? So like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, would you go Google it or something? But
It's crazy, right?
Praise the Lord. I'm so glad that God has given me such a wonderful people in my life and friends like you. And so everybody go to americanuckradio.com. Lorraine is asking about migraines. There's a video on it there.
So in my, as a subscriber to my website, among other things, you'll have immediate access to a page on the website which has 103 illnesses that I've listed. Migraines is one of them. I tell you what the MDs think about it and what they do to manage it and what the naturopathic doctors think about it and what we do to try to fix it. And I have a self-help health recovery protocol there that you should try for 90 days. And it has an 83% success rate, by the way. You've got asthma, point and click. You got migraine headaches, you point and click. It's 103 illnesses lined up to tell you what I would do if it were me and I had it. So check it out. Because, where did I read? My people are destroyed by lack of knowledge.
That's in the book of Hosea, chapter 4.
Hosea. Mike, you're the greatest. I got to bounce.
Talk to you later, Doc. Thanks for joining us today. Everybody,
good long and prosper, Mike. It's always a pleasure. Keep up the good work.
Talk to you soon. Dr. Peter Glidden, everybody on American Rock Radio, and Nora, I know you've come here to get the Bible studies, and we do that the vast majority of the time. And we're going to tomorrow, God willing. I'm still alive when I wake up in the morning, but Dr. Glidden really has made a big difference. And listen, some of you are full of the Holy Ghost, and God will heal you. And we have seen many miraculous healings in the name of Jesus connected to this ministry and God working in his people. But we also have a lot of people that are not, that listen to this show every day. And I do also know a lot of people in church that are in really bad health, that are taking things like Premarin, like what Dr. Glidden talked about, and still have some kind of an inexplicable faith in doctors in the medical system. Well, now you don't have to do that, because there's a non-drug and surgery alternative with the right information that actually works. Go to americanuckradio.com. That's americanuckradio.com, and click on Dr. Glidden's link near the bottom of the homepage. If you want to reach out to me, if you need a hand with it, you can go to americanuckradio@gmail.com. Or if you would like to give a donation or an offering or a tithe, you can also do that at americanuckradio.com. Thank you so much for listening to American Rock Radio or watching today, everybody. Have a good and blessed day. And we plan on being back tomorrow, and we're going to get deep into the Word of God. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
The Prince of Peace is He, the everlasting Father, and the King eternally. Wonderful in wisdom, by whom all things were the beginning and the end, the living word.